Hello, Pisces, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. Also, I would like to wish you again a happy new year. This will be a reading for the first full week of the new year, which is January 4th through the 10th. So during that time, we're coming off of a full moon on the 3rd, but that energy can also move into the 4th and sometimes even the 5th. And a full moon energy, of course, is a time of heightened emotions, a time where you might feel a little overwhelmed and anxious or snappy and irritable, but you also just might have a lot of high energy. That's what I always have. And I'm going to be using that to probably do things like on Christmas, take down the tree and do all those sorts of things during that high energy time. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. We also have the waning gibbous energy right after that full moon energy. So of course, that's a time of self-reflection and rebirth. Good time to make positive changes and get rid of bad habits and negative thinking, which I think is awesome for the first week of the new year when we're all trying to make those resolutions and make some changes right now. So this will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Pisces. So as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message is balance, spirituality, and practicality. Always really good advice. If we could all remember to do that every day, what a wonderful world it would be. And as I'm shuffling the tarot cards, Pisces, I would like to say that my fun weekly reminder this week is that you take some time to meditate. You know, as you're making resolutions, maybe one of those should be that you want to meditate more. So even if it's just a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes at night, just make sure you're taking that time to do that. It's just such a great practice. If you can sneak in a few longer meditations, the longer the better. But that is just my fun weekly reminder, is that you try to work that into your routine this week and really in the weeks to come. So, all right, let's get into this reading. Pisces, January 4th through the 10th. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. Your present energy right now is the Seven of Swords. So, interesting. Seven of Swords is usually about cunning, craftiness. It can be about theft, hidden agenda. So you may want to take some time, just look around you, make sure that there's nothing like that going on to you. And of course, make sure that that's not you doing that to someone else. Is there some sort of hidden agenda? And I mean, sometimes think this card is kind of like, I kind of see this as sometimes like a white lie card. Like sometimes you have to be a little cunning and crafty in different situations to, you don't want to lie, right? I'm not advising that, but craftiness, sometimes I understand. But examine that in yourself and see why it is that you're having to do that, if that's your situation. And if it's not, again, make sure everyone around you is kind of on the up and up as well. Your current situation right now is the Ace of Pentacles. So some new financial opportunity coming in, and this is where you might need to be crafty. I mean, if this is some sort of job offer and you don't want to say too much yet, you don't want to you don't want to give away your cards quite yet, you might be negotiating salary, that sort of thing. And that's what I mean by, is this the white lie kind of card? So it's totally, that's a situation where of course you're not going to throw all of your cards out on the table if you're in kind of a negotiation, especially when it comes to money. So totally understandable if you're going through that right now. Make sure that you're negotiating on your best behalf. At the root of your situation is the Three of Pentacles. So some sort of collaboration coming together. Again, is this work related, money related? This is a card of collaboration. And again, are you working with somebody that's maybe you're collaborating with and they're not quite on the up and up? Again, your work situations are weird. I always say, you got to cover your butt when it comes to sometimes people aren't. I remember my mom saying to me one time, she's like, "You're going to find in life that not everyone is like you." And yeah, I remember at the time thinking, well, what does that mean? But I know it took me years into my adulthood to be like, oh, not everyone is honest and straightforward. Um, because I'm very honest, and it's not everyone's like that. And when you find that someone isn't, and you're someone like me, you're like, what? why would that person lie? I mean, I was just in so much shock, especially in the professional world where people are kind of underhanded, people can be backstabby, and it's crazy. So again, if you're facing something like that, you do have to protect yourself and cover your own butt. You really do. In your recent past, Four of Wands. So, you're probably coming off the merriment of the holidays, and here comes work right at you. And you're collaborating again. You're watching your back because there's someone over here maybe you don't trust, or you're trying to negotiate something and you're trying to make it work out the best for you. So, let's sober up. Let's get back at it, right? What is on your mind this week? Some sort of indecision here with the Two of Swords. So, if this is some sort of negotiation at work where you're not sure about making a decision, that's okay. You can have you can wait till you get all the information until and then make your decision. You can think things through. This person is sitting in very, very calm waters as they make this decision. So calm down and get all the information. Of course, maybe you're not going to give out all of your information, not throwing all your cards down, but think it through a little bit. And also, again, your overall message was to balance spirituality and practicality. Is this where the universe wants you to go? And a lot of times you can see those signs and there's synchronicities that lead up to big changes and big decisions like this that just point to yes, and sometimes they don't. And you do want to make sure that, like, is this the right thing? So keep that in mind as you're moving forward. What is just ahead of you this week? Ace of Cups. So Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Cups. Your heart is overflowing with, this is about just really having an open heart. And maybe you are totally excited about this thing and you want to make sure you're making the right decision. So just be practical. Also, you know, it may seem like the right thing, but make sure you are really holding on to those practical thoughts as well. In your advice position, oh, I've seen this card in almost every reading. Seven of Wands, you against the world. This is in your advice, and to me, this kind of like hold your ground. And I feel like there may be something in the collective this week, something that happens that kind of affects all of us. I was talking about this in the Aquarius reading as well, and a couple of others because this card has come up so much that um but that if we're all kind of feeling like it's us against the world, if I feel like something might happen this week that is very polarizing for the world, and we're all going to kind of develop our opinion, but just make sure you're, yeah, of course, stand your ground, but also let's listen to everyone else's opinion on things as well. So that's my advice for you and everybody where I've seen this card is just let's be open to listening to each other and not let things divide us, right? What is beyond your control this week? Knight of Pentacles. So some sort of action here on this Pentacle front. Again, this is job related, could be. Um, think it through. Again, I'm going to say balance spirituality and be practical, but listen to the signs also. What is your secret desire and what are you trying to avoid? Is the Six of Pentacles, which is really about giving and receiving. And this is a weird card in this position because is it your secret desire to be on one end of this or the other, or are you trying to avoid being on one end of this or the other? Because this is kind of an either or card. So now we're asking a lot of questions of this card. Is it your secret desire to be giving? Or are you trying to avoid being giving? Or is it your secret desire to be on the receiving end of something? Or are you trying to avoid that? That'll be your big question this week. And you may need to really think hard about that one because of, again, it's a lot of information, but two different questions that you'll ask. And there's no right or wrong for you. It is whatever you decide. It's just kind of the big thing that you're presented with this week. In your outcome position, Pisces, is the High Priestess. So this tells me that whatever is going on with you this week, whatever this indecision is, that you really do need to trust your intuition. The High Priestess is about paying attention, I mean, to, dreams, your intuition, those synchronicities from the universe. It's those little signs that, when you're making this decision, it's flipping on the radio and hearing a little snippet of a phrase that means that, like, pay attention to the universe this week, because I think the signs are going to be there that are going to help you make whatever this decision that's on your mind. Again, I feel like for some of you, it will be work related. It might be, pentacles don't always have to be about work, but it could be, about your living situation. There's just something that you need to pay attention to the signs on. Let's see what's hidden from you this week. Is this card has been around a lot too. What is going on with these sword cards? Okay, so this is hidden from you, which is about kind of being like recognized a little bit, in your community and your family, someone kind of patting you on the back a little bit. That's kind of hidden from you this week. So that may come, you may get some attaboys next week when you make this decision, whatever it is. But that's not really in the cards for you for this week. So let's see what the Soul Oracle deck says as a final message here for Pisces. Final message here is they have, looks like a pretty good decision ahead of them this week. I'm very curious to know what that might be for you guys. Embrace your power. Interesting. So balance spirituality and practicality. Embrace your power. I'm going to go back to this card. If you don't want to throw all your swords out there, don't do it. Hold some information back, which is kind of just a negotiation tactic, right? Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Pisces this week, January 4th through January 10th. And the card you get is surprise. Release your expectations and be open to surprise. I read through these decks and then when I do readings, like I forget. I don't remember this card. I don't think I've ever pulled it out in like an online reading ever. So I love this. Release your expectations and be open to surprise. Again, this High Priestess, there may be some mystery. There's just something around you, some synchronicity, I feel like, that's really going to guide you this week. So keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, and just kind of pay attention, Pisces. So that's pretty exciting. Whatever this negotiation thing that you might have going on this week, it's pretty exciting for you. So thank you so much for being here. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know, were you in some sort of negotiation, decision-making process? Was it at work this week? Did it have something to do with, with money or with your living situation, that sort of thing? There's a lot of questions in this reading for you to answer. So you may want to watch it a couple of times just to make sure you're getting there. And it was a lot for me to even this situation here to explain that, because it's a lot of things happening. And is it your secret desire, or are you trying to avoid one or the other of those? So anyway, Pisces, I wish you the best of luck with this. Again, if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below and let me know if you have questions. Also, I'd be happy to answer this for you. I do read all the comments. And if you like my reading style, if you hit like and subscribe, I really appreciate that so much. And it'll also help you find me next week, where you can come back and we can see if this story continues or if there's something new here for you next week, some new energy. So Pisces, thank you so much for being here once again. Happy New Year, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.